Dinner etiquette is one of the most important things to be aware of in order to fit into society, so obviously this was a fun norm to break. Folkways include using silverware, putting your napkin on your lap, and eating with your mouth closed. I decided to break away from these norms by putting my feet up on the table and eating pasta with my hands. I, of course, received negative sanctions from both the people that I sat with and those at other tables. My table gave me looks with great disgust and confusion. They said things like, "Ashley, what are you doing?" Other tables whispered to their partner and pointed in my direction. I, of course, found great entertainment with the reactions that I received. Of the 5 types of deviance, location and audience are all important. Deviance is all about location, location, location. If I were by myself in my home eating pasta with my hands and placing my feet on the table, it wouldn't be that big of a deal at all. However, being in a restaurant where you are open to all sorts of judgment, there is likely to be someone with a reaction to the act that you are performing. There are also places around the world where it is custom to eat with your hands at every meal. For example, medieval times in Dallas requires you to eat with your hands. Audience is also very important. If I were to be eating dinner with my grandmother, she would likely react to this act very differently than my best friend, who would likely be performing the acts with me by my side. This act can be classified in normative and reactivist deviance. Normative because most people do not eat pasta with their hands, nor rest their feet on the table while eating food, and reactivist because it gains reaction from the audience. Obviously, the restaurant was a little too fancy for my deviant act. Had I gone to a fast food joint, there would have been less reaction, but there would have still likely been some reasonably suspicious stares. Since the sanctions were negatively based, but not extreme, these are just folkways that I have broken. With an open mind, the acts that I performed can make eating dinner a little more creative, rather than icky. The act of deviance can also be classified in Merton's strain theory. Through the use of innovation, I can still eat my food, aka reaching my goal, but in order to eat it, I use my hands and feet rather than my fork and knife, aka in a more deviant way. Society frowns upon my tactics to eat, but it is still a way to achieve my goal. In this way, I am rejecting the way society tells me to reach my goal, but I find great entertainment in the way I eat compared to everyone else. It is definitely a way to be unique. One of the men in an organization that I take part in gave me inspiration for my gender norm. He consistently does the Captain Morgan. You know, well, you get the picture. Anyway, while doing the Captain Morgan, he likes to scratch his balls through his jeans. So I thought to myself, well, it's kinda normal for a guy, so let's see what happens if a girl quote-unquote does it as well. So that's what I did. I set up shop at a nice visible part of campus, partook in the Captain Morgan, and, well, pretended to scratch my balls. There was definitely a reaction. Some people took double takes while walking to class, other people avoided my direction, which, by the way, is a fantastic reaction. And let me tell you, I felt really awkward doing it, but I made that boy from my organization proud that day. First of all, this is very deviant because girls are supposed to be proper, mindful, and charming. We are to keep our legs together at all times, to speak when spoken to, and to never, ever draw too much attention to ourselves. Of course, this is, shall we say, present day. There are feminists everywhere, and let me say, girls are now more powerful than ever before. But never are we supposed to do what I did in Academic Plaza. So why do boys do it? Because they apparently need to adjust themselves often. It's definitely not frowned upon for men. So why is it deviant for women? Well, history, context, and audience play a very important role in this decision. Historically, women are supposed to be polite and proper, and that has changed enough to make us equal to men. But we still get funny stares in some of the most interesting acts. Maybe in the future it will be okay to, I don't know, adjust our boobs on occasion. In context, maybe it's okay for women to do this in the bedroom, but in public, not so much. So then what makes it okay for men to do it? Who knows? Finally, an audience makes the deviant act worthwhile. If there is none, then there will be only secret deviance known only to myself, and that's just no fun at all. Statistical, normative, and reactivist deviance are all portrayed in my act. Statistical, because virtually no women do this. Normative, because women are not supposed to do this. And reactivist, because there were quite a few reactions to it. Finally, the theory that best explains my active deviance is Hershey's social bond theory, because it lets you think about what elements make you conform to society. Commitment is a great concept for this act because it explains that the more committed you are to being labeled a girl, the more you will try to keep that label. Basically, if you try to start scratching yourself, others will view you less than what you want to be perceived. You've tried so hard to become this image that you don't want to be viewed as something else. After all the reaction I got from the act that boy performs in each meeting in the organization, I question why he does it even more. Being the Harry Potter nerd that I am, I decided to incorporate a normal Harry Potter activity into my act. So what did I do? I ran into the bathroom screaming, "I'm going to the ministry!" locked myself in the stall, flushed the toilet, and abruptly screamed, "It's not working!" There were a lot of or, but the one that I found most remarkable was, "Woo! Weasley is our king!" This made me realize that Pottermania is opening up a lot of opportunities for deviants, especially those that circle around Harry Potter. Regardless, Potterheads are always open to the idea of wizardry in the Muggle world, even if it occurs in the most backstage place of them all. You got it! The bathroom can even get positive sanctions. Even though many people stared at me as if I was some foreign creature from Jupiter, I still got giggles and Harry Potter-related remarks from some individuals who found my active deviance to be rather entertaining. Furthermore, although this act can be viewed as a norm in the wizarding world, especially for those who work at the ministry, it is quite odd for a Muggle to lock themselves up in the restroom and flush the toilet without necessarily going number 2. Instead of using the toilet for its usual purpose, I decided to take it in a different direction, truly testing the waters of bathroom etiquette. Remember, deviance is relative. Of the 5 different types of deviance, location and audience play an important role. Harry Potter is such a popular topic in the United States that most people have probably seen the movies or read the books, let alone heard of it. If I were to perform my act in sub-Saharan Africa, there would definitely be less understanding of the act. Furthermore, the audience plays an important role because all the bystanders were college students. Had they been middle-aged professors, they would have found the act tacky, improper, and inappropriate. It is always important to take into account the history, location, context, actor, or audience in any deviant situation. My act of deviance can be defined under statistical, normative, and reactivist deviance. Statistical because most, if not all, people do not attempt to use the toilet to flush themselves to go to their workplace. Normative because it is a folk way to remain silent, proper, and polite in the restroom at all times. And reactivist because this act relies solely on the bystander's reaction to the act. I found this act of deviance to reflect Travis Hershey's social control theory. Instead of asking what makes a person deviant, ask what makes them conform. I chose attachment because it predicts that the more attached you are towards society, the less deviant you are likely to be. Obviously, Harry Potter customs are not part of our society, so the more attached you are with them, the more likely you will follow in their path and do such deviant things as flushing yourselves down toilet.